Maisamy, first of all, I apologize that I'm on the noisy front porch with the traffic, but it's a rainy day, and so this is my covered porch. This is where I need to be. Also, I haven't had any coffee yet. I will shortly be pressing the pot, which frankly doesn't cut it since I've been in Italy having delicious macchiatos every day. I tried a macchiato at my local store yesterday, and it was bitter and unpleasant, which made me very sad once again. Of course, it was also $5 instead of €1. Anyway, the reason I wanted to get on here so early in this morning is because I have been really enjoying this Leonardo Tredici with the steel flex nib. And so even though I very recently did a video about Leo Flex, I wanted to talk specifically about this pen and its nib. It's the first steel flex from Leonardo that I've tried, and when I did my video before, I'd really just tried it, but I've actually been using it the last couple days, and this is a really cool pen and not that expensive. So, I mean, relatively speaking, it's not a Bic. So I did want to spend some time talking about it. First of all, I used to only like silver furniture, especially if it was sterling, but lately I've been wanting gold furniture on most of my pens. Somehow I just feel like gold works better with these vibrant Brooks colors that I've been getting. But this is only available if you want the steel flex nib with the silver trim, and I think it looks really, really quite sharp. Tredici, it's got 13 sides. I haven't counted them. I'm just like believing the hype. It is a piston filler, and I got it in the Hawaiian material. It's also available in something else. Arlecchino? That doesn't make sense because that's a celluloid. I don't know, something else. I'll maybe look it up and put it in the notes. But this was the one that appealed to me, and it's just this is just a really, really interesting celluloid. I'll do some close-ups for you. I really will remember to do the close-ups. It's an interesting material. Did I say celluloid? It's not celluloid. It's an interesting material, and the material itself is kind of striated, and the facets on the pen really show that off to a very pleasing degree. I wonder how this would look on some of the other striated finishes that Leonardo has. It is a pen that is not huge. I haven't measured it. I'm not the type that goes out and measures, but it feels slimmer than the Leonardo Momento Zero Grande. It sort of tapers down both ways. I really like it. Now, I don't normally post my pens, but I've been posting this one mostly because I've been sitting outside and I didn't want to lose track of the cat. And it feels a little bit to me like a back weight slightly posted. Now, people who post more regularly, that may be the ordinary feeling, but you know, otherwise fits fine in the hand. But the real deal here is this nib. So this nib writes, they need a new muffler. This nib writes so smoothly and with such softness that I've double checked several times to make sure I didn't accidentally get a gold nib. It does not have the degree of softness and elasticity, I'm going to say, rather than flex, of the gold elastic nibs from Leonardo, but it is, I think, quite different from their other steel nibs in the feel, in that though I won't say it really flexes, it has a softness that makes it seem more like gold, if that makes sense. And it's super, super smooth. So I have been enjoying this to death. And you know, if the steel elastic nib came in different nib widths, it could become my default nib mostly. Anyway, let me do a little writing for you and gush some more about how much I'm enjoying this pen. Okay, so you see the little notches that are the telltale sign that you've got an elastic nib. It's an ebonite feed, and again, I just love the profile of the feeds from Leonardo, which they do cut in-house. It says elastic on the nib, and I didn't bring out my loop, but I think it says fine over there. So let's see how this goes. Okay, so that's me just normally writing, not trying to do anything fancy, just trying to get the ink on the page. This is Clairefontaine paper, by the way. I usually use Rhodia for these things, and I find Rhodia just slightly nicer than Clairefontaine, but this is what was at hand this morning. So if I try to do a little more flexing, I can't get much out of it. But I do get that bounce, that little bit of bounce that I just find so pleasurable. But the nib, this is with virtually no pressure. It's no pressure. I'm basically just letting the pen move across the page, and I still get a decent line of, now, if I wanted to get really picky, I could say there's just the slightest bit of sharpness on the downstroke, or really it's kind of at the turnaround of the downstroke, whatever you might call that. But man, very, very pleasurable nib. You know what? I shouldn't say that. I bet that little bit of drag that I'm feeling is because it's Clairefontaine instead of the paper I usually use. But it's smooth as glass, except for that little catch that I'm getting. And again, I think that is likely to be the paper now that I give more thought to it. And it's not, see, as I change pressures, it's getting a little darker, but it's not really giving me a broader line. Not really, a little tiny bit. So the flex bit, see there, I'm pressing pretty hard, and I got railroading pretty early on. So softness, that's what it gives, is a touch of softness, and I like it.